Good evening, one and all. First, I'm going to do a feat of massive danger. So, lo and behold, hold on. By the way, I'm excited. For those of you that were around, perchance, last night, you noticed mayhaps that the audio for the clip that I had prepared completely failed. And I'm glad to say, not that this took any massive amount of work. Hey, Warrior Mom, say hello to a you know who, by the way, and that a little IOU is extended, which is always the case. Anyway, okay, so I think I figured out how to. Oh, I just gotta say hello to everybody. Oh, goodness gracious. Y'all demand my time, and I'm here to give it. So, hello, Warrior Mom, Slap by Sly. It's good to see you back with the OG name. Global Watchman News, a massive hello. I've been shouting you guys out a lot recently. Um, and I am very interested, Lori. Please feel free to find and subscribe. Please post the link. What's up, Katie? And that one girl, Allie. That's another one right there. It's time. Some people tell me that there's too many blue, too many. Nah, it's okay. It's okay. It's just that I want anybody that's a supporter or whatever you want to call yourself to be able to share. Okay, build one another up, so on and so forth. So, oh, by the way, my dangerous feat. You're going to understand why soon. Now, why was that so dangerous, you ask? I shall show you. Like a good magician, I'm going to reveal the secret. How stupid is that? I can't help myself, though. I've been doing this since I was like, oh yeah, I don't know what, 6 years old. I've made it this far. Eh. And I'm gonna just stupidly do this again and make somebody so frustrated they're probably just gonna click on out. Oh, Lori, what I was saying, I'd like to when I watch your material, the content, the conversations, sometimes I feel like I'm out of place. But I'd like every attempt to bridge that gap. I know we're more than capable of having conversations. You know, it's an amazing story. I'm proud of every little anecdote like this that I've been through on these on the journey of podcasting and YouTube. Um, Meeting people that on paper you'd be like, these two can't have a civil conversation, and we bridge that gap and we prove to the world that yes, we can. That's why I have an oxymoron for a name. So anyway, one more for the road. He survives. Okay, so I'm gonna show. I'm gonna get right to it, fam. I don't know if I said fam. Rewind the tape, erase, and that never happened. We do not call each other fam here. I have my reasons. This, frankly, sickened me. And it's going to make me. I'm constantly finding. I had a very interesting discussion with a friend of mine who is a very fervent supporter of law enforcement. And he'd say he's always been independent. I always viewed him as more of a conservative type. But we had a very interesting conversation. And there's people that are just now learning that I've been, I'm going to say identifying as, but that terminology has already been appropriated by the they, thems, zays, she's. Um, so I'm just going to say, yeah, that I've pretty much gone full 180 from where I was with vote blue no matter who. Well, I was never like that. But the only people I find representing the common interest of America, or, well, yeah, is people on the Republican side or the right. And here is a smoking gun item and clip that will have you all understanding why it just seems to be just common sense. Like, this is not about energy independence, which used to be one of my progressive things, right? This is not about, let me see what best suits. Now, we're going to do this justice. This is about things that shouldn't even be an issue. Now, I find myself adding something that I advocate for, which is whistleblower protection. And I will need everybody's insight when I play this because it's kind of a ghetto rig that I have here. It's like old school. I was using one speaker last night, and you remember how that turned out. Please let me know with a simple. I hate having y'all do this. Hit 1 if you can hear this loud and clear and perfectly. Hit 2 if it is no good. Here we go. I'm going to be watching and I will pause it. What's up, Jackie? So let me know, guys. How'd that go? Let me raise my phone. It's my dog. How'd that go? Let me raise my phone. 2. It's my dog. I heard my dog. How'd that go? Let me raise my phone. Okay, hold on. Really? You guys can't hear nothing? Okay, hold on. Gonna get massive feedback. I'm gonna try this again. This is gonna drive me crazy. Here we go. I'm gonna hit play. Hit 2 I'm gonna put my thumb up when the audio is playing. What do you mean no? Okay. This is perhaps fixable. Actually, I know it's fixable. And there's a something in me wants to say, Eli, you've done this before. Okay, bear with me. Now I have to play this. Like I have a passion. It's making me so irritated. Okay. All right. I see a mute mic right there. I just want to play this little piece. By God. All right. I'm going to do something in real time, folks, so bear with me, okay? I'm going to do that, and I'm going to stop my screen share and open it back up. Bear with me, though, if I can get this right. Here we go. It's going to be worth it. Share tab audio. We do want that. Oh, I think I just found out yep. I'm a silly goose, guys. I'm a silly goose. And we just fixed it. Like a boss and team, my friends. Thank you. So now just to humor me, let me see those ones when you hear the audio. By goodness gracious. Here we go. Remember, when my thumb goes up, this is interaction right here. Let me know that you can hear it perfectly.
Our final witness is Ms. Rodas is recognized for 5 minutes.
Good afternoon, Chairman McClintock, Ranking Member Japal, and distinguished members of the committee. It is an honor to be here. I thank you for the invitation to share my testimony. My goal is to inspire.
I am so relieved. Thank you. I'm able to effectively share the things that light that fire in my soul, and away we go. So without further ado, I'm going to give some silence here. Now I want you guys to listen to every detail. This is not a long video. Once you understand what this represents, and I think you can see it, HHS whistleblower claims U.S. government is middleman in child trafficking operation. I have never in my 38 years of life believed an administration or president was actually literally evil in any sense of the word, because evil is usually associated with an absolute. Evil is an absolute. It's not a gray area. Okay. I have never been more convinced that the Biden administration is completely compromised and downright evil. So now I digress. We're going to let the tail of the tape reveal itself. All right, here we go.
Our final witness is Ms. Rodas is recognized for 5 minutes.
Good afternoon, Chairman McClintock, Ranking Member Japal, and distinguished members of the committee. It is an honor to be here. I thank you for the invitation to share my testimony. My goal is to inspire action to safeguard the lives of migrant children, including the staggering 85,000 that are missing. Today,
85,000 that are missing, and giving the content, which is child trafficking. I'm not pulling punches for YouTube anymore. I'm sick and tired of seeing every dollar sign go yellow or red. I don't care. The platform is for the truth to be shared, and nobody can silence that. 85,000 missing. And with the this is more than implications. She is whistleblowing the facts.
Children will work overnight shifts at slaughterhouses, factories, restaurants to pay their debts to smugglers and traffickers. Today, children will be sold for sex. Today, children will call a hotline to report they are being abused, neglected, and trafficked. And we don't know if they're going to get the help they need. For nearly a decade, unaccompanied children have been suffering in the shadows. And I have to confess, I knew nothing about their suffering until 2021, when I volunteered to help the Biden administration.
For over a decade. So it doesn't just transcend, it goes beyond this administration, and I have to ask some questions, although like I don't want to seem like I'm defending Trump for the sake of it because I support him, which I do. I just have I'm a little nervous about what the future holds for DeSantis and Trump running against each other and how that could fraction our base. Never thought I'd say that. And I don't want that to happen. Like what happened to the Democrats when the DNC had like 15 candidates. Those two pivotal strong runners against each other, I'm afraid of what that would do. So it makes me wonder, though. She's saying for a decade this has been happening. I'm curious to know why it's been able to flourish as long. And I am acknowledging that we all know Trump was pretty much the hardest on the border than any other president that I can recall. And that could have led to, I don't know, just denting that decade long of the travesty she's going to illustrate. I'm going to remain silent for a bit for her to get to some of the more gritty details.
With the crisis at the southern border. As part of Operation Artemis, I was deployed to the Pomona Fairplex Emergency Intake Site in California to help HHS, Office of Refugee Resettlement, reunite children with sponsors in the United States. I thought I was going to help place children in loving homes. Instead, I discovered that children are being trafficked through a sophisticated network that begins with recruiting in home country, smuggling to the US border, and ends when ORR delivers a child to a sponsor. Some sponsors are criminals and traffickers and members of transnational criminal organizations. Some sponsors view children as commodities and assets to be used for earning income.
The first practical question I have is how can, if the U.S. is involved, like to any degree, if they have to go through our system, which she hasn't even gotten to that, how in the hell are we? How in the fuck are we able to not vet the sponsors? How are we able to not know they have a criminal background or history? Where is that process? Is there some sort of oversight? Is there like I thought there were some sort of, I don't know, just checks and balances that had to occur for anybody to be blessed, graced with protecting a child. So what's up with the process at hand? Or is that by design, which I didn't consider, and that horrifies me. So that's point one, and it's going to get deeper.
This is why we are witnessing an explosion of labor trafficking.
Can you tell me, I apologize, what is the ORR? I am not familiar with the acronym. And what's up, Shotgun? Good to have you. ORR. Oh, I don't know what that means.
Now, whether it's intentional or not,
She points it out, intentional or not. What did I just think out loud? If that's by design, it makes sense. If this is the intention, I don't want to believe it, but the world doesn't operate based on how we want things to go.
it could be argued that the United States government has become the middleman in a large-scale, multi-billion-dollar child trafficking operation. Multi-billion-dollar child trafficking operation. The United States government has become the middleman in a large-scale, multi-billion-dollar child trafficking operation that is run by bad actors seeking to profit off of the lives of children. As for me, my interest is the safety of the children. I do not view this as a political issue. I view this as a humanitarian issue. I assure you, my motives are the highest and best. I want the children protected. So I want to tell you some of what I witnessed personally at the Pomona Fairplex. I saw vulnerable indigenous children from Guatemala who speak Mayan dialects and cannot speak Spanish. That means they cannot ask for help in English.
Sorry, whenever there is a comment with such substance and information that needs to be heard, oh, I can't do it from the phone. I'm gonna read it, Lori. Laura Silsby was arrested taking 33 kids from Haiti to the Dominican Republic after the EQ and after she was bailed out by a Clinton lawyer. I don't care. YouTube or powers that be, status quo, mainstream. She had her name changed and is now in charge of the Amber Alert system. Okay, so that's being covered up. Obviously, I'm gonna have to vet and verify, but unfortunately, not only is truth stranger than fiction, more often than not, it's more horrifying than any nightmare. Would be zero kinds of shocked.
They cannot ask for help in Spanish. They become captives of their sponsors. I have sat with case managers as they've cried to tell me the horror of what has happened to children as they make the journey to this country. I saw apartment buildings where 20, 30, and 40 unaccompanied minors have been released. I saw sponsors trying to simultaneously sponsor children from multiple ORR sites at one time. I saw sponsors using multiple addresses to obtain sponsorships of children. And I saw numerous cases of children in debt bondage, and the child knew they had to stay with the sponsor until the debt was paid. Realizing that we were not offering the children the American dream, but instead putting them in modern-day slavery with wicked overlords, was a terrible revelation. A terrible revelation. These children are a captive victim population with no access to law enforcement or knowledge of their rights. They are extorted, abused, neglected, and that is why I blew the whistle in 2021. I witnessed firsthand the horrors of child trafficking and exploitation. My life will never be the same after what I saw, but I have hope because I'm counting on you. It's my hope that you'll take action to end this crisis, to safeguard the lives of these vulnerable children. People have asked me, what can be done? What would you suggest? Well, first, I think HHS's #1 priority is oversight. They must commit to oversight, transparency, and accountability.
How many times do we need to hear the obvious for every sort of corrupt institution, usually funded by our tax dollars, from a whistleblower or from anybody with just human decency, that we need more oversight? We need more civilians with no beholden interests in their back pocket or lobbyists or wherever the blood money comes from. We need just honest to goodness citizens that are willing to just call out whatever is before them without fear, which goes into a deeper issue she is about to get into, which is a lack of whistleblower protection. By God, I'm just going to state it plainly. YouTube, Google affiliated companies, and all the mainstream out there, whistleblowers need protection from the Clintons. Okay? Just saying. If people are going to come out and risk their lives, I mean, it's a great strategic power play to dissuade people from wanting to speak what disturbs their very core and soul by showing or making an example of other whistleblowers. And I've done specials and I've covered a multitude of whistleblowers, so much so that a supporter I had that was in the military actually told me to drop it. I still have massive respect for you. I haven't seen you a little bit, but why would anybody want to deter somebody from advocating for whistleblowers that have been unalived? Just saying. All right.
If I could wave a magic wand, this, I believe, could be quickly solved by experts in the IG community. There is a Pandemic Analytics Center of Excellence, or the PACE, as we call it. I believe if data analysts at the PACE could look at the data, children could be rescued, criminals could be prosecuted. If the PACE had access to this data, it shows where the children are and who has them. I think also We need to change the culture of speed over safety. Speed is the wrong performance measure when dealing with children.
You sacrifice efficiency when you're trying to just get things done for the sake of, just getting your paycheck. We need to incentivize some morality, just a little bit, for especially the most delicate jobs, for the most delicate and vulnerable populace, which is children. And thank you, Lori. I see the link, and I'm muted.
We need to revamp.
Hold on. I'm muted, you say? Okay. Well, hold on. I'm gonna unmute myself.
The vetting process of sponsors.
Oh, thank you.
And have case managers who have investigative backgrounds, data analytics backgrounds, some certified fraud examiners. And I think we need to reimagine.
Why can, and a part of accountability for these institutions and programs, we can track anything and everyone. Why are these institutions and systems not required to just do the bare minimum and the same? So I'm making sure that everything is good with the camera and whatnot. Why can we not do a better job of ensuring that the sponsors, well, she's going to make a great suggestion, but ensuring that we can find the children that we're entrusting to people that we're supposedly supposed to trust. The whole thing is broken from the bottom to the top, and the top right back to the bottom.
Imagine a system where the sponsor is the accountable party. Sponsors should be required.
Sandra, hello. It is ILPP here. I am so glad to have you here. I got to come up with a nickname for you, Sandra, which, for lack of a better term, this is very serious. I can't be making nicknames right now. Staying on point. Not letting bipolar win today. Not today, Satan.
Report to ORR. And lastly, stop retaliating against whistleblowers. Stop retaliating against the people who are trying to tell the truth.
Just what I want to mention before it happens, because in her closing, you tell me how you feel, given the very sensitive information that she is sharing and how delicate it is. Listen to the guy who, just how he conducts himself to, I'm not going to say shut her down, but it's just not the tone I was hoping for.
To save the children. As it is written, a wise man listens to advice, while a fool continues in his folly, and HHS needs to be wise to care for these children.
Thank you very much. Your time's expired.
Just, you see that little creep?
Building your online business.
I'm not trying to make an implication. I don't know who that was, but how in the, what kind of nerve does it take to be like, okay, you thank you for talking about, wanting to do better and saving the children, but your time's up, and he was knocking that gavel before she was even done. I'm perplexed. I'm confused. All right, so Laura, you did share a link. Let me see if I can just do that real quick. What's up, Borna Hawkeye? Good to have you. Lori is pretty damn good and vigilant at finding sources and information. So let me see if I can do just that while I'm here. Oh, it took me to, okay, sorry. Doing this in real time, so bear with me, my friends, okay? And, funny that somebody mentioned how corrupt CPS is today. Something interesting, excuse me, happened. And before I get to that, let me close everything out. My goodness gracious. Okay. So there is a little group of beggars, and they use their, I hope it's their children. I don't know that I hope that. And they, these are the ones that I've mentioned, that they have the fake music. It's a $2,000 violin that is digital, and they just used an app through Bluetooth and play it and pretend they're playing it. And they have their 3 children all staged out and spread out in the hot sun, or in today's case, the crappy stormy weather, with their signs. And a good friend of mine came in so outraged, with which I empathize with. I know the man of the family has declined any offer for work. His excuse at first was, I don't have a green card. Then his excuse, because there was a friend of mine who offered it, saying it's off the table, man. Construction. He said, no, no, I'm good. Well, if you're out here begging, I guess I don't think you are. But a friend of mine was like, I'm calling CPS right now to have their children taken away, and I begged her. I said, please. There's so many different ways to go about this. Do not get CPS involved. They would not be much better off. So I guess I don't know. That's going to be a work in progress because I know my friend. She's not going to drop it. These people have been. It's been agitating me to see them play this shtick at every high traffic area. Your Home Depots, your grocery stores. They're wherever. Oh, and apparently they have a very nice car. I was told, but it's hearsay until I see it for myself. I can't believe there's an old video I have where I'm just walking down the street and I gave that woman $20. I was in the early days when I got that little shout out. I'm gonna check that link, but before I get to that, there's since I'm so happy to have access to clips again and be able to share them with you, things I wanted to focus on. I just took notes and I did it using talk to text. And since I didn't implement it in real time, I just want to get it out there. I wanted to make it clear we need better whistleblower protection in place. How about a whole system? Tax funded. That's literally helping taxpayers do the right thing. And that's how about we actually have a say in that? Because they use our tax dollars to fund so many things that I am not okay with. Why can that idea be suggested? She planted a seed, and that guy with the gavel was none too eager to end it, apparently, for her speaking. And this is where, like, I was very conflicted at talking about the Biden administration being a literal manifestation of evil incarnate. I have never in my life seen a family so compromised, and I started to do some thinking in an area that I never wanted to, and never because I was a Democrat. I have to admit it. Because I was a Democrat, I don't know why these things were not on my radar. And I'm not painting the Republican Party or being Republican with being, ultimately righteous. That's dangerous thinking. But why wasn't I concerned about certain things? Like I thought open borders was a nice, DNC point to fight for. I have a lot of Colombians in my family. My mother is Colombian. We have a huge family. So I thought that, why would people not want my family here? Ignorant, small, short-sighted thinking. So I started to ponder today, driving home, thinking about how I was going to present this, thinking about how, based on what I already know, how the Bidens are just disgusting, wouldn't open borders. And if the U.S., as she quote unquote says, is the middleman of child trafficking, 85,000 children missing. This is a scary thought to come to grips with. Doesn't that make the child traffickers and the groups, cartels, whatever, that thrive off of these businesses or these sponsors with their various locations, doesn't open borders and less regulation make these things, these criminal aspects thrive? Is that the design? Is that the plan? I hope I'm wrong. These are thoughts I really never, it was never a part of my consciousness, and now I'm looking with a new pair of eyes. I'm just seeing and thinking about things that I just didn't have the perspective. This is the result for me personally, my personal journey of being red pilled and allowing myself to evolve from coming from a place where I was indoctrinated and believed I was so self-righteous, and I was so convinced that, a progressive Democrat was the key, was the way. And here I am now concerning myself about the conservative base, the Republican vote, just being too fractioned by the Trump crowd and the DeSantis crowd, which are, I think, and I believe, one and the same. I don't want to see. I've been a part of a party, um, or a demographic or a constituency that was completely fractioned in so many different places that it allows the powers that be to dictate and call the shots. We just get involved in the political theater. Never forget, during the primaries, in the first time in America's history, Bloomberg, it was able to buy his way mid-primary onto the presidential stage. So how much does it cost to compromise the integrity of our very sacred process of elections and democracy? Oh, I think it was what, 15 or $50 million, or 15 to $50 million is what Bloomberg paid so he could run that late in the game. And I am convinced that was by design to just, on the left, I often cite Bernie was the left's Trump. I know it sounds crazy, but bear with me. He was the wild card for the left, and they didn't want him, and they colluded. The DNC colluded against him, and well, we've seen what the powers that be. And the DNC, their overreach and their connections with the mainstream are so powerful they can do their damage to Trump time and time again, and it's still happening. But I love what DeSantis is doing here, so I'm just I don't know what to think. All right, so I went off on a tangent. Did you guys see Trump's speech recently, by the way? This, for just good measure, this I'm gonna play. Let me get this back like so. And if you haven't seen it, you're in for a treat. I actually posted this on my main Facebook page, something I usually try not to bring the politics from the stuck in the middle page onto my main page because, well, we know how people get. But anyway, let me just get right to the speech.
Over the past 6 months, we have been investigating as well as exposing the truth behind all of these food processing.
Thank you. You're speaking facts, brother, but hold on. He's not the most eloquent speaker, right? He speaks he doesn't try like I do sometimes. I try to pick $2 words when all I need is a single penny's worth of a sentence. He doesn't mince his words. So this is his response. I loved every second of it, and I'd like to share it before the end of the night here.
You could take the 5 worst presidents in American history and put them together, and they would not have done the damage Joe Biden has done to our nation in just a few short years.
Oh, and big props. I have a clip regarding who is it? Special Agent Mueller, that POS, getting grilled about the laptop and the Steele dossier and how none of it can ever be proved. And we essentially have the mainstream media literally admitting that it was 100% misinformation. But due to the slow drip strategy they have learned is effective, and that means when the truth is finally delivered to us, it lacks the punch that it needed to have. That's a absolutely brilliant strategy, and it always works. We should be far more outraged at the things that we're learning come to light this day and age. I just wish we could maintain the energy and the outrage that we had from day one to motherfucking year 4. Like think about COVID and how the truth has slowly come to light, and look at all the lies that have been exposed. And the anger we have is so minimal. We should be doing a lot more than I don't know, talking on a microphone. But don't get me started. I don't want to get blacklisted or something.
Not even close. Thanks to Joe Biden's socialist spending calamity, American families are being decimated by the worst inflation in half a century. Banks are failing, our currency is crashing, and the dollar will soon no longer be the world standard, which will be our greatest defeat in over 200 years. Real wages have been falling 24 months in a row. In other words, under Biden, workers have gotten a pay cut each and every month for 2 straight years. We have surrendered our energy independence, just like we surrendered in Afghanistan, which we had just a short time ago, and the price of gasoline just hit a five.
Remember the good old days when it was just the liberals, Democrats? I can talk about them like they're a separate entity now, just complaining about how the world stage is looking at Trump talking like he's just not the greatest speaker. And now we're sitting here talking about all these huge factors that literally make us look weak and incompetent, downright corrupt and compromised. Yeah, I miss the days when we were just regaling and outraged at his tweets. I miss the days when there's, did you hear what he said about illegal immigrants? Oh, he called them criminals. Ah, outrage. I'll take that any day over this crap by this corrupt administration.
5-month high, and it's going much higher than that. Under my leadership, we had the most secure border in U.S. history by far.
Facts. That's what I was trying to insinuate regarding the trafficking issue that is ever so prevalent and thriving. I hope not by design, via the Biden administration. Trump was really getting somewhere and commanded the respect of the agents. And now nobody seems to care where it matters. And I really do believe that just fits whatever agenda by the Bidens that they have.
Never had a border like this. Under Biden, the southern border has been abolished and millions of illegal aliens have been released into our communities. What's happening now is beyond belief. They're coming in from mental institutions and prisons are all being emptied.
Watch. We're gonna see on CNN. Oh, look at what Trump said about actual criminals making it across the border and establishing cartels and gangs and committing crimes. Oh my God, he actually called a spade a spade. He actually said something in plain English, and so nobody could get lost in the minutia of whatever words came together. No, he just plainly stated the truth of the matter. And they're going to use that and say he wasn't delicate enough talking about it. Oh, it hurt my feelings. Fuck your feelings. We are far past critical mass, and we need to start improving. And at least I know I'm going to do my part, and I hope that voting still counts for something, because I have zero faith left in our government and institutions and elections. And he actually touches on something that is now, sadly, I wish it wasn't, I wish it didn't have to be, it's super relevant, talking about elections and protections. And thank you, Shamrock. She sent me something from Axios, the extremely leftist news outlet, talking about how they have secured our elections. I don't like when they do that. The last time they said something like that is when they were called a shadow cabal in Time magazine. Truth in plain sight. You could be told things when it's not hidden or you find it somewhere, and if you're told just plainly, it can almost fool you into thinking that, oh, that's normal. Yeah, a shadow cabal ensured the protection or outcome of our election. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Being dumped into the United States of America. Many of these people are very dangerous. They're being dumped. We're like a dumping ground. Our cities have been overrun with homelessness, drug addicts, and violent criminals who are being released from jail en masse with no retribution whatsoever, while law enforcement is weaponized against law-abiding conservatives or Republicans or people they just don't like. Our children are being indoctrinated and mutilated by left-wing freaks and zealots.
Not mincing words, and we need that right now more than ever. So now this is my crossroads. This is where I hope any of you that feel the same conflict or fear can empathize. I don't want Trump and DeSantis to run against one another. Together they would destroy, like they would win. But I don't believe either one would play second fiddle. I don't think either one would want to be a VP. They're both leaders. But right now, like, I just love Trump's plain English approach. It's what we need. And DeSantis, man, he's a man of action. These are both men of action. So my concern, if I haven't made it clear, two good men that want to do a great job. And I don't want that to hurt us and let the Democrats win. They've had enough time. And I hate everything about what Biden is doing, jam packing radical leftists. Listen to me these days, radical leftists in the courts with all these judges. I watch hearing after hearing and hearing their history and the words that have come out of their mouths on the record be said, and they have nothing to explain themselves. They just try to downplay it, or this was a joke, or this was, it's their own alma mater, which is basically there's one judge that's trying to get appointed or confirmed for I don't know, the highest courts, and it's an Asian American who I forget which representative was saying, "Are you denying that the Democrats protected the schools um, in regards to any time they wanted to show disdain against Asian Americans that are succeeding too much, and they have been kind of vocal about punishing them." And this Asian American, I don't remember his full name. I know his last name. It's not going to go over well, Mr. Ho. He literally made excuses for what we know is on record, which is the DNC and Yale actually showing some sort of disdain against Asian Americans overperforming. What kind of mental gymnastics does it take to be a functioning member of the DNC? I'm convinced. I don't know what's in the Kool-Aid, but you have to drink it before you get in there.
Senior ranks of our military have gone completely woke, and our military is suffering greatly. Biden has totally humiliated our nation on the world stage, starting with the Afghanistan disaster, perhaps the most embarrassing event in the history of our country. It meant so much to our enemies when they watched that horrible retreat. Russia is teaming up with China. Iran is days away from a nuclear bomb, not even thinkable. Ukraine has been devastated by an invasion that would never, ever have happened if I was president. And Joe Biden has led us to the very brink of World War III. They say Trump was right about everything. Well, I'm not predicting World War III, but I will say this: we're very close, and they're only talking about nuclear weapons. On top of it all, Biden is the most corrupt president in American history, and that's not even close. Nobody can believe what's going on, with, again, no retribution whatsoever. With such a calamitous and failed presidency, it is almost inconceivable that Biden would even think of running for re-election.
Simply put, and sometimes for anybody that wants to escape the truth because it's just that uncomfortable to face, you gotta hear the most simple explanation. And to me, that is what they're capable of. Okay, that they're not trying to be intellectual or pander or focus on image like Obama so often did. He's just speaking the damn facts. And I hope more and more people learn to appreciate that more than more than anything and everything else. Nothing matters except the truth and those that pursue it. And that's where it's black and white. You're either for the truth and getting down to it and having nothing but facts at your wayside or within you, or you're for misinformation and bias and censorship. That's where I demand we take a side. The guy that's always been against a two-party paradigm. You cannot have 100% of the U.S. population represented by two parties. That's a fact. That's Sun Tzu divide and conquer 101. But you gotta make it. What's up, Jeremy? You're here right at the end, my friend. Just we have to get together and ensure that we lock down this election and that it goes all kinds of right. And I can't believe it. Like, what's going on? I'm confused. I don't know why Tucker Carlson was released. I know why Don Lennon, whatever, his dumbass was booted. But am I understanding correctly that Dominion has succeeded in a class action lawsuit against Dominion? There's much more of a conversation that needs to happen. And now that I have things rolling a little bit better What's up, Nina and Jeremy? Welcome, guys. I'm looking forward to an open panel where we can all have a conversation about the things that are just going on and help educate me. Lori, I am so very much looking forward to communicating with you. No matter where I hear something I disagree with, I agree with so many things that you say, and I focus on that. And also, it's okay to focus on where we disagree because that's where we can actually grow discourse, and that will strengthen the unification where it matters when we need to vote for a leader that is going to lead by example, not by pandering or playing victim or pulling any kind of card. So, all right. What's up, Outdoor Adventures with Ron? Hello to all of you deplorable. Yeah, well, we do our best. That's it. You know what? What am I considering? Does anybody wanna hop on real quick? I mean, oh boy, it's almost midnight. I got a big laborious day. But hey, let me see. Let me get the link real quick. Let me remove my secondary. What is all this? Man, I can't wait till I learns my computer. Stop screen. Okay. Stop giving me notifications, you MFer. Okay. Why am I even blanking my cuss words? Okay, link. Invite. Here we go. StreamYard. If anybody wants to jump on of the hearing today, yeah, shotgun. Are you referring to which hearing? The one that I played with the about the children? I got you. If that's all you're requesting, that's easy. All right, give me a moment to get to my stupid Facebook, and I'll provide the link. The link I used is invalid. Damn it, Clintons. No, I'm kidding. Damn it. Is that Hunter Biden in my closet smoking that crack again? I just say these things because I know YouTube hates it. And that every damn time I've been asking for reviews on every time they try to say, oh, you did something wrong. It's not about the money. Money doesn't hurt. You'd be disingenuous. Here's the link. If you said it didn't help. But that's not a mandatory thing. It just help. Put in the time. Here you go. Here's the link, by the way. Boom. There you go, Shogun. I hope you can access that. And I'm not seeing anybody. I see Mr. President. I call birthday chat supervisor. Oh, Nina, you're speaking to my heart here. There it is, Mr. Shotgun, by the way, right there at the bottom. I looked. The Restrict Act is government overreach. It's more restriction. It's handing over willfully. I'll never forget when Lindsey Graham acted shocked. He co-sponsored the bill. That's more than writing a single line in there or signing your name. He co-created the damn bill, and he acted shocked when he was asked on the spot, if he knew about what was in there. He knew damn well. Whenever, I'll say it and I'll say it again and again and again, whenever there is a bipartisan bill that is just unilaterally, like, successfully unquestioned and passed without any issue, you want to look into what the details are, the P's and Q's and everything in between that they're slipping in that bill. They're not contesting it for a reason. Jeremy, brother, thank you. Just like my goodbyes are awkward and long, I've learned to not make it such a thing when somebody does that. So thank you. That's all. Appreciate it. And there you go. I'm over thanking now. So I forget how this works, but I put the link out there, and I need to know, has the Restrict Act gone much further? Because the last I heard, the proposal, it's just a proposal right now. And that reminds me, Ted Cruz, this is like, it's crazy. I'm celebrating and listening to every single day, watching these hearings, the people that I used to enjoy. Thank you, Born a Hawkeye. I'm going to start making it awkward for everybody here. Thank you. Okay. Just appreciate it. Period. Oh, and thanks YouTube for demonetizing just about everything I do. Uh, that $30 for 2 months has gone a super long way. All right, anyway, that's enough about that crap. What's up, Jack? What was I just in for? Okay, so yeah, I'm watching Ted Cruz, Trey Gowdy. I've always liked, regardless of my affiliation. Oh, we got Lori. Lori, I know that you got just. Can you in the chat, Lori? Would you mind confirming that that's you? And if you don't want to show me a camera, anything, because I have learned to be cautious because I've been bombed before. Okay, cool. You can do your thing there. And this is global world news right here. Lori, everybody.
You
What's up?
always get my name wrong.
What? Is that Lori?
Global Watchman News.
Oh, I know. I've been saying global network.
What's up, hon?
Well, I am healthy-ish, but I am absolutely outraged.
Yeah, you know what? I'm so glad you were talking about this because I have come to the conclusion that I don't care if I nuke my channel. I'm going to start speaking out against these children who don't have a voice. It is our responsibility as adults, as non-predatory adults, to speak on behalf of those that don't have a voice.
Yeah, you come to realize that there's so many things that are bigger than any sort of monetary gain, and it's just there's so many platforms where we think or where we have the illusion we can have our free speech and enjoy it to the max, and that's just not the case on this platform and many others. And we need to show the system that there's no way they can truly silence us. Taking away my monetization is not going to take away my passion in seeing what's wrong. So
Yeah, I keep getting turned down from my monitor. I'm on my 5th or 6th channel,
yeah,
and I was monetized for a brief period of time back in 2016 for like a brief moment. I got up to 60,000 subs, and boom, they took my whole channel.
yeah, I've been aware that you've been through a couple of reinventions.
A few.
And are you telling me your current channel as it stands is completely not non-monetized?
Non-monetized. I keep reapplying, and they keep coming back saying that I have harmful content.
What? Oh my good. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a general understanding of how the mainstream thinks, but like, what grounds? What is harmful? I've
Right.
watched.
Define harmful.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, define. I mean, again, those words are they mean different things to different people.
it's way too broad.
Way too broad. Yeah.
That is another strategy by these powerhouses where the onus is not on them to explain a damn thing to us.
No, they don't have to explain.
That's where we have it wrong. They make it so we have to beg for mercy and surrender just to have our voices heard, and I'm having no part of it.
Well, they're trying to social. They're trying to. I'm sorry. My lupus has been through the roof lately. My brain fog. They're trying to. They're trying to cause us to think a certain way. So what they're doing is they're punishing us for acting this way. And if we want to continue what we're doing, we will tweak how we say it, what we say. And they're social engineering us, and they're kind of like moving us slowly into the way they want us to think, or they think they are. We get through that with using different words, using code words, with a lot of my followers and my chatters, they know exactly what I'm saying when I'm like, the thing we're not supposed to talk about. Well, you know what that means. And so, but they're trying to social engineer us into thinking and having this hive mind thought process. And it's not going to work for those of us that are awake to the truth.
Celebrated independent thinkers, and it actually sadly took me a couple of months going through my own drama here to really appreciate independent thinking. And when I'm reluctant to even use the term community because it just felt so dirty when I realized I was just a part of a group. I was just going with the tide and not questioning anything. But aside from all that being in the past, yeah. And I just started to think if they have you walk on eggshells so often for so long, and you start using different words to define actual words,
Self-censoring.
it,
We
look
are.
at that in and of itself, it
Yep.
almost devalues
Yep.
the actual message we're trying to get across.
And look at you earlier tonight. You were self-censoring yourself, swearing.
Yeah.
You're bleeping yourself out because
That,
they have social engineered you into the idea that I can't say certain words.
I believe that by the TOS, I mean, I think there's a lot of lies that are just told by these large companies that are definitely compromised by our government, and I'll say that
Yep.
just like that, as long as the Biden administration is in power.
Right.
They say, oh, only if you curse in the first 15 minutes. No, no, no. They mess with your algorithm. They shadow
Yep.
ban you if you
Yep.
talk about certain topics,
Yep.
and that was never one.
You know what? On my original channel, I used to have videos, and not to pat myself on the back. I had videos with 750,000 views on them. I'm lucky I can break 1,000 now because I don't care what I talk about anymore.
It's sad that we have to get to that point, but I mean, I'm there with you in terms of I'm over. It's exhausting to self-censor,
It
and
is.
when you realize why we're doing it, or we're self-censoring to appease the powers that be, nothing could make me feel any dirtier.
Exactly. No, you're exactly right. And mainstream media is not going. See, the thing of it is people like us, we're considered alternative news media,
Yes.
and they have villainized us so much. And we're fake news, and we're this and that, and according to YouTube, I'm dangerous. But you're not going to hear the things that should be talked about on the mainstream media because propaganda is legal here in the United States under the
Yeah.
Smith-Mundt Act. It's legal. They use it. They know exactly what they're doing. They use legalese. They use these gaslighting. Back, guys, I'm going to be I'm almost 60 years old. I remember back when they reported the news. They didn't give their opinion of the
Right.
news.
I even question if I ever really got to experience that. But I have you heard my cockamamie theory about when the government and our media just became partners instead of adversaries?
They did,
It,
but they did.
my theory, based on nothing, let's say alleged, is based on this. I think what Watergate was when investigative journalism came to a head in terms of outing our very own leadership for being corrupt. And in my opinion, that I have nothing to substantiate it with, they said, well, you know what, that didn't really work out for the greater good here, which is having America look the best. So why don't we, scratch your back, you scratch ours. We'll feed you some stories and exclusives, especially on that other side, and you just write, propaganda for us now,
Mhm.
essentially.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
that's I think that's when it started to begin. But yeah, I don't know. Like Cronkite, he was a man of integrity, I believe.
absolutely. I believe he was. Yeah.
The simple, and that's the way it is. And
Hmm.
his that one sentence, and that's the way it is. That reminds me of how Trump speaks, which is this simple means of getting his message across
The
is,
problem with Trump now is that
oh, do tell.
I am a conservative Christian, straight across the board, ultra conservative Christian. But I do not support the two-party system whatsoever. You know this.
I neither do.
I've never seen our country more divided. The problem with Trump now is that they are pitting Trump against DeSantis. So now there is unsettled within the same party, and people are going to. This is my opinion. I think first off, it's caused on purpose. But I think that people are more, how can I say this? I think that what they're doing right now is going to give Biden another win.
No, okay, but you're not the first one I've heard say this, and
That's what I'm afraid of.
you've heard me articulate many times now my fear of pitting them against each other. That terrifies me. I
Yeah.
think that's the strongest chess play on the board is to pit these two, what I was just saying, the best leaders that we have against each other, and I don't want that to happen. I was on the progressive side when they screwed over Bernie. I don't want to see that in the conservative base. That is a real concern I have. And by God, somebody else came to the same consensus that, oh, it was my conversation with my family member I talked about in a live where she explained she thinks Biden can actually win. And it's crazy to me that there's still a base. They have no passion. They just don't want to see.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you believe that he actually won the election? Do you honestly believe that a man who couldn't get
Oh, no.
50 people at his rally got more votes than any other president in history?
I never did. I was always reluctant to say that.
So with that being said, we have the same things in place from the last election as we do for this election. So the possibility of him winning again, because people are so tired of Trump and they're so tired of everything that's happening. Hate is a motivator.
Yeah.
Dislike is a motivator. There are so many people. I live with a man. He's like, we live in a Trump house, Lori. But I've even seen him lately go, I don't even know if I can vote for Trump. That scares me. Because what's the alternative? Biden again? For 4 more years?
Damn well better not. Like I couldn't stand it. But you are echoing the same sentiment. And I went live the very day I had this conversation with a man from Cuba. He's absolutely all-American. He's always been like MAGA strong. And then all of a sudden, after the speech Trump gave talking about the judge not liking his family, he suddenly comes in and tells me I can't vote for Trump anymore. He's gone too far. He said something about the judge, and he didn't actually say anything bad about the judge. He just said the judge doesn't like Trump and his family. That's it.
Do you remember Biden's with the circle of Jeeps? Yeah, there was like 50 people there at his acceptance speech with the Jeeps. He was in a used car parking lot.
You see, you can never. There's just, you don't even have to make a case to me about Biden not being the rightful, because we saw it. Like it's so insulting that they tell us that. For one, let's never forget, Stuck in the Middle was live when the numbers were polling, and then there was that, and there was that freeze.
You saw the same thing we saw, and it was like, what did I just see?
We went from real-time data streaming showing Trump in the lead to suddenly,
boom,
and then brand new numbers were presented to us. And all of that with every rally we saw jam-packed with patriotic Americans.
And still.
And they expect us to actually, and I'll never be ashamed, even when I was still a Democrat, I was still absolutely pleased as punch and proud when J6 was happening. I went live to respond because to me, it's not what the media has portrayed it as. To me, it was Americans expressing their voice again.
Let me ask you a question. Okay, first off, January 6th, I mean, our Declaration of Independence clearly states what to do when we have an overreaching government. I'm not going to say anything more. If you know, you know. Okay. Secondly, January 6th was, for the most part, a peaceful protest. I live in Chicago. I don't live in Chicago proper. I live about 30 miles from Chicago. But we saw here in Chicago, we saw in Oregon, we saw in Kansas City, we saw in New York City, we saw just about Miami, just about every Democratic city in the country. We have seen, I don't want to get you struck. We've seen the Beetle and the
there should be zero qualms. BLM for one.
Okay, all right then. Then
Is
we saw BLM and we saw Antifa literally destroy cities and not face any consequences. You cannot tell me that they can find every person that was at January 6th and they can't find a person who went in at Chicago and destroyed the mall. You can't tell me that.
remember how many active FBI agents were embedded during J6? How many provocateurs? How many?
Agent provocateur straight across the board.
Yep. And you cannot convince me otherwise. I mean, we
No,
even
not
had
at all.
those journalists that were there, and they gave the footage over. They literally handed over evidence that they were there, trying to get people to get more riled up. And I
Yep.
cannot believe, like, I'll never forget or forgive. While I was still technically on the left, my lefty friends, and they're still my friends, were celebrating that Ashley Babbitt was put down that way.
Ashley Babbitt was denied medical assistance for how many minutes? It's disgusting what happened to her. It never should have happened to her.
No, and she was a veteran. She served her country.
Correct.
She was going there to execute every right she had.
Yep.
And yes, I know that I was there for every argument. Oh, she jumped over and so okay, so that suddenly we're okay. Like, I'm talking about the left here. We need to protect all life. Oh, except when it's the other guy, right?
Well,
The
exactly.
hypocrisy.
It is. And like I said, I'm going to be 60 years old pretty soon. I've never seen a country so divided. People immediately go to political affiliation. They go to religious affiliation. Back when I was young, wow, I sound like my grandmother. Back when I was a kid.
Yeah, you're not at all.
Back when I was younger, I can remember my grandparents going to vote. And when they got home, they never even talked about who they voted for. Eli, never. It wasn't discussed. It was, it never came between anybody. And now we've got people fighting on social media. We've got families dividing. We've got households divided, all by design. It is all by design.
This is a brand new thought I formulated, but I don't know how confident I am of it, but it's absolutely been devastating for Bud Light going woke and Dylan Mulvaney. It was grotesque. It was terrible. They lost billions of dollars. But what did that help do? For one, let's juxtapose it to, we didn't discuss certain things at the table, to, oh my God, it's all over our beer cans. So
Yeah.
it's like, by design, if
Yeah.
it were, which I doubt, because nobody would want to lose that amount of money and popularity.
$500 billion.
500 billion, because I remember from April 1st to
By now it's over, but at one point there was $500 billion.
Well,
and yeah. Maybelline too. Maybelline has gone with Dylan Mulvaney as well.
Did they sever ties because people started boycotting that as well?
I don't know if they did or not. Okay, here's the thing. I'm over on TikTok. I spend a lot of time over on TikTok, and when Dylan Mulvaney first started out with her, whatever day of girlhood or womanhood, however she pronounced it, whatever she said, I came in at day 10. I came in at day 10. And I followed her. So I have followed her from day 10. She just celebrated last month her 365 days. So I've been with her straight through, watching her progress through her softening surgery that she just had, the face softening surgery that she just had, and all this other stuff. But looking back now, I went to her first day of womanhood or girlhood. First day. And she literally made a caricature out of being a woman.
Correct.
This is my first day of womanhood. I've cried. I've got PMS and I've got cramps. I think I broke a nail. Everything that, a caricature of a woman, this
it's a man.
It's a man represents. Nobody is going to tell me or intimidate me to tricking my mind into thinking something is something else. If you have a penis, you are a male. If you have a vagina, you are a female. I don't care what you say. I identify as a 29-year-old, you know, Saudi Arabian princess. Doesn't make it that I am.
See, that is where the line is drawn, and Dave Chappelle
Oh,
said it best. At what point do I have to participate in your delusion?
correct. Correct.
And you can't mandate that like they have done effectively in Canada, where misgendering is a hate crime, which is
And where do you draw the line, though? We've got grown ass 50-year-old men identifying as 4-year-old children.
I man like
Where do you draw the mental illness line?
and calling things for what they are. And there was something, and again on Dylan Mulvaney's caricature, it is what we're seeing. World, ladies and gentlemen, is a fetishized version of what a man has always perceived to be
Correct.
an attractive girl. It was always appealing to him. So what's the most sane thing to do in 2023? Let me go ahead and play pretend. Only let's go for realsies as much as possible. And apparently there's money to be made by doing this and grooming and pushing it. And I cannot believe there are states advocating for gender affirmation at 14 years old. I cannot believe in Missouri I'm thankful that they passed the bill so that they have restricted the gender affirming mutilation and all that. But instead we have 650 doctors that went ahead and wrote a open letter on the internet to all of the children of Missouri and said, screw the law, fuck the law, we're with you, we'll take care of you.
We'll take care of, yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, like I said, it's depopulation. You can call it a conspiracy theory, you can call it whatever, but depopulation is real. And this is how they're doing it. They're confusing our kids. They're giving them sex changing drugs, hormones to mess up their reproductive systems. And it's going to have a detrimental effect in years to come when we realize that we're just like China and we have a growing population in age and we have nobody to take their place.
And now I'm coupling together not only the confusion they're putting in the next generation, but all of the prescription. We're the most medicated country in the world. Yeah, absolutely. Let's say there is an agenda for depopulation. It's never been more clear that they're succeeding.
Exactly. They are succeeding. Absolutely. They're succeeding. And the thing of it is, as long as laws are being passed, as long as laws and regulations and things are being passed in our government and in our states to protect this kind of, it's predatory. It is predatory. Look at, if you were to walk, okay, now let's be honest with each other. If you or I were to walk up to an 8-year-old child and start talking to them about oral sex and all that other stuff, we would be called a pedophile.
Rightfully so.
But I send my 8-year-old child to school and their teacher can talk to them about it and not be a predator?
That's what the completely mistitled by the status quo in the mainstream, the Don't Say Gay bill, which has nothing to do with homosexuality and everything to do with not allowing teachers to speak to children about sex. Yeah. That's what it's been about. But I don't know if that the left is more gullible. I don't want to believe that because I don't like generalizing.
I know.
It's just an acceptable narrative for them to believe just the headline more than the contents. And it is seeing that stupidity time and time again that makes me terrified of what's to come. But we have to have a monicum of hope.
Exactly. And I'm glad to see that you are speaking up. Tonight's topic really, I'm sorry if I threw a lot of links in there, but I'm passionate about this, completely passionate about this. And I will continue to speak for these kids who don't have a voice. Where are all these hundreds of thousands of kids disappearing to every year? Where are they going? Why aren't we finding these kids?
So I have, based on your very, it's an obvious question. People need to be asking that question. I have a special based on some of the research I've done. I found some videos and compounding articles about how wealthy criminals are using yachts to do these heinous things to our children.
Wow.
So I'm going to present that.
Yeah, I would like to see that. Because here's the thing: is if you go to Walmart, the missing children bulletin or board on at Walmart's. They're
Yeah,
at all the Walmarts.
sure.
You know that those are every Walmart you go to. There are different kids up on that wall. So there's 40 kids here in Chicago up on the wall, 80, 100 kids. And if I go down to St. Louis, there's another different 100, 150, 200 kids up on that wall. If I go to Pittsburgh, that's another 200 kids on the wall. And it's terrifying.
It's overwhelmingly terrifying and just plain English overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I'm starting to really, my tinfoil hat is no longer a tinfoil hat. I have tinfoil under my skull on top of my brain.
Mine's a fedora because
Fedora tinfoil.
it's a fedora tinfoil to fedora because you know what? It doesn't have to be tacky. I'm not
I dig it.
You get it? Yeah.
I dig it. I might cop your style if that's cool.
The fedora, absolutely.
Sometimes I think they throw overwhelming numbers at us to make us feel like it's an insurmountable goal to ever attack.
Right.
But we have to be educated. We have to know exactly what we're dealing with when it comes to the numbers. But sometimes you can feel that something is so just too big to fail.
I sent you the information on Laura Silsby.
Oh, thank you. And never hold back on that.
I know you probably can't, I can send it to you over on Facebook, but Laura Silsby, I mean, she is right now in charge of our Amber Alert system. She also has it's called New Life Children's Refuge. She's the Baptist ministers and stuff over there in Haiti after the earthquake, and they went over there to do humanitarian, and yet she tried to kidnap 33 children, trying to take them over the border to the Dominican Republic. And of course, she was bailed out by one of the Clinton, one of the Clinton lawyers. And, I mean, people don't understand this. If there are, 800,000 kids every year that go missing?
800. Currently, we're at 850,000.
Okay. If there are 850,000 kids that go missing, my phone should be blowing up with Amber Alerts.
That's a good point.
Every single day. Why isn't it? Let's do the math. 850,000 kids. 850,000 divided by 365. That is 2,328 children every day.
And for some ungodly reason, I've never thought of it that way. We are only given these like hand-picked not moments, just like there are full weeks that I don't get an Amber Alert.
Yeah.
I work in front of a lotto station. There's always a different child every day.
Correct.
And somehow, maybe once a month we'll get the Amber Alert here. I don't even know what to do with that kind of information, but ask more questions.
It raises more questions, And then when that Laura Silsby is tied in with the Amber Alert system, hello, that raises questions.
Very disconcerting. Well, you've given me more ammunition, more of that fire that fuels me to keep on speaking and see. I feel such relief when I see that we're on the same page on the issues that matter. This is why I've completely disavowed like the old progressive values, climate change and all the things that are huge, but the things that should always been in front in terms of mattering have taken the main stage, and it's things we can actually improve. We can't fix the climate overnight. No amount of overcharging us for electric cars and making gas more expensive is going to fix a thing. And you got to ask, what's more effective here? Is it the means that they're getting to try to solve the problem? Hell no. That sounds like a problem in and of itself. So yeah, and like I'll never. This is my favorite example. Trump simply said how saying we're energy independent used to be a thing that would get the crowd riling,
Yeah.
but now just talking about returning parents their rights is what gets the biggest response. That's a prime example of what showed me that I've personally I've had it wrong.
I think we've all had it wrong, Eli.
Yeah, no, I don't beat myself up about it. I'm
Yeah.
glad that I have gotten to the point where I am because it makes me, and I think it somewhat makes me feel like I could perhaps reach out to some of my lefty friends, and I think it should it I hope it comes out as a positive to the conservative base, to people like you and those of you in here, that people can change if they are educated enough.
You and I have more in common than I think you realize when it
I
comes to, I mean, people, you've always said, we could be on further sides of the street on things, but yet there's still, it's because we do have a common ground. We are more on the same page than you realize. And we're getting more and more on the page as time goes by. You say that, you feel, when you come in my chat, you feel left out. Listen to what I say with an open mind. I give all the links. I give all the links in the description for you to go do your own research. I don't tell anybody to listen to me and to believe me. I tell people to do your own research. I'm giving you the tools. I'm giving you information. I'm just scratching the surface on the things that I say. But I'm giving you the tools and the hopefully lighting the fire that you take that and you go get yourself educated on that topic.
oh I get super invested in getting myself educated. There's
Yes,
just
you
the
do.
one obvious, the area where I get uncomfortable is, something I don't believe I can fix. I recently tried to rediscover faith, and
Yeah.
it's just not, it doesn't feel like I'm being authentic. So it's a separate battle, but it is something that sometimes doesn't put blinders on, but it affects my ability to hear the message.
My journey and the religious aspect of it. I was born Catholic, went to a Catholic church, Catholic mother, Catholic, When I was 14, 15, I came home one day and my mother said, "Guess what? We're going to get baptized Mormon." Yeah. Oh, my mother was a hoot, let me tell you. Okay, so I'm a recovering Mormon and recovering Catholic. Okay. I started researching the Mormon Church when I was like 17 or 18. I started researching it and asking questions, having questions. I went to my bishop and I started laying out all these things. Why was Joseph Smith doing this? What about the salamander that helped him? All this other this crazy stuff. When I die, I don't want to keep having babies. What are you talking about? I'm going to get my own planet. What? I'm going to be a god. I'm going to get my own planet and I'm going to start all, my own version of humans. This doesn't make any sense to me. He looked at me.
Is the planet collab? Because believe it or not,
Hold on.
I was a
Yeah.
Mormon for a spell too.
Okay, so all right,
Yeah.
the craziness. So my bishop put his hand up and he said, "Lori, I think you would be happier someplace else." And 2 weeks later, I got an excommunication letter from the church. So I went from So I know, right? They didn't just throw me out the door. They locked it behind me. Okay. So then I started a relationship with a guy who was into Aleister Crowley. So
Oh,
I went down that avenue. I went to he was doing the Wick or the Aleister Crowley thing, and I thought, you know what? I think there's a way that we can be yin and yang here. You keep with the Crowley thing, and I'm going to go with the Wicca thing, and we can complement one another. Oh, I'm telling you, my journey has been through so many different religions that if I get to the pearly gates, God's going to probably laugh and look at me and say, "You're the last person I expected to see here."
I can empathize, and I see from somebody that I cherish. She had no idea I was a Mormon.
I see Queens are happy. You were Mormon?
They are definitely strategic in sending the most attractive women
Yeah.
to my old trailer, and I was 16 years old, and I got so invested. To their credit, like that very church though shielded us because a hurricane was more powerful than the
Mhm.
trailer I lived in. They took my family in, so there's kindness in
No, no. See, that's what I
many
think. That's
things.
what got my mother so invested in them was their family oriented. I mean, they really are family oriented. You know, you've got your Monday nights, you know, family home evening, and you know, and you know, their whole that movie they make you watch, Families Are Forever. I mean, they really instill this family aspect to it, but they don't tell you the crazy part that they also believe in.
Yeah, well, remember that's mainstream media 101. It's the slow drip
Uh-huh.
of the truth, so that when you finally
Absolutely.
get whatever that truth is, it doesn't pack that punch. You're like, oh, okay, sure, yeah, collab, planets and forever children. I'm all for it.
Right. Exactly right. So yeah. So you know, when you hear me up there and I quote the Bible and I talk about salvation, which is a small part of our broadcast, usually, you know, understand that you know I've come to that realization. I've come to that is through a journey through many religions and faiths.
And same could be said for my journey, and it's taken me many places, and the journey is well not quite over
There you
until
go.
our final day.
Yep.
With that, I'd like to say I would be honored if ever you consider to have me up on a panel on a day that you have the time for such a thing.
Absolutely.
I would love to have you here anytime you feel the compulsion. And thank you for everything, Laura. You have been one of the most fascinating and relieving, inspiring people to know, because I was so certain we'd never get along.
You know, at first I had my doubts, but there was just, I mean, I could have blocked you at any time,
Yeah, yeah,
and you could have blocked me at any time. And there was just something that was like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. And I'm glad it didn't, you know, because we do have a lot more in common than people would even begin to comprehend, I think.
and we saw value in the art of discourse.
Yeah. That's the one thing I always say is if you surround yourself with yes men, and you surround yourself with people that think just exactly like you are going to be stagnant. You are not going to, you know, you're not going to test your boundaries, and you're not going to, you know, learn new things or discover new things, whether it be political, religious, social, economic, whatever the case. If you have a closed mind, you will stay stagnant and you will not benefit at all.
Yeah, I absolutely believe. I absolutely agree 100%, because with the closed mind, you condemn yourself to having like no motivation,
No.
no natural curiosity, no ambition to seek
No.
answers.
You wake up in the morning, you turn on the mainstream media, and they tell you what to think.
Yeah, yeah, and I haven't turned on a mainstream media outlet for I don't know how many years, and that I'm proud of.
Yeah, I
Thank
haven't
you
either. Thank you for having me, hon.
for me. Well, don't leave yet. I must have my final say. Jeremy, thank you. It's awkward for me to say thank you, but we're gonna normalize saying thank you, brother. I appreciate you, and for sticking around for the journey. And there's more to come, I promise, guys. And yes, Josh and I will return. I gotta stop procrastinating. And that brings me to another thing, Lori. If you would ever be interested in being a stuck in the middle guest, I
Love
think
it. You know that. I love you and Josh.
and yeah, so that'll be coming soon. That's it. With that, Lori, have a fantastic
You
night.
too,
Good
hon.
night. And even though it's out of character for me, I think I feel comfortable saying blessings to you.
Thank you.
That's cool,
Blessings to
right?
you. God
Okay.
bless you.
All right. Now you keep that tinfoil hat on tight. Take care.
Fedora.
All right. Fedora tinfoil. Okay. I have removed her. I'm not. Okay. Kick. Yeah. Okay. Bye, Lori. I hate kicking you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I think we did an hour. Like, holy crap, we did an hour and a half. This is inspiring. It reminds me when I would do this more often. I very easily let myself get so distracted with my own me issues or the stresses outside, with work or life. And there's a lot of procrastination that I'm responsible for and I have to be accountable for. So I don't feel ready to make any promises, but I do want to be doing this much more regularly, and I want more bells and whistles, even though it's about the substance and the content. But if there's any growth that's to occur, there are more things that have to be done. Please also help us fight the battle of censorship by the biased, damn it, I'm gonna do it, the biased leftist platforms that we find ourselves desperately trying to keep having our constitutional rights be honored by hitting the like button. Help us fight that fight. I'm gonna make little shorts and remixes. I notice they get traction unless I'm too critical of anything that the mainstream deems holier than thou or too sensitive to discuss. That's an insult to all of us when they treat us like that, like we're children and we're not capable of independent thought or discussion. So go ahead and do your boycotting and celebrate that independent thought you have. And then we can truly celebrate anytime we come together. Good night, one and all. I'm out, and I'll be reading every single comment when this loads properly. Good night, guys. Progressive Patriot out. Talking to myself in the third person. Clear signs that I'm losing it.